Hello everyone, I'm drberkkkaratas. Our topic is why people have sex, why they engage in sexuality. Of course, our topic is related to reproduction, but it's not just about reproduction. It might be more accurate to say, why do people have sex outside of reproduction? First of all, let me say this. We are conducting some survey studies here. Similar comments are coming from other studies as well. So, Professor, what do the studies conducted in America tell us? Their culture is different. Our culture is different. That's true. There are societal, social, cultural, and belief differences. But human is a human. So the person living in a tribe in Africa is the same as the highly educated person living in Finland. Their feelings are the same. There is a sense of pleasure. They want to feel pleasure. They want to enjoy. They want to take revenge. Or, they want to achieve success. There are a bunch of emotions involved. Therefore, all human emotions are equal. Since emotions won't change, people won't change either. Of course, there will be reflective cultural and social differences. That's a separate issue. But these won't change the average. That is why it does not matter where and in which country. These very valuable survey studies, which I will give below, are conducted on a very large scale. I wanted to say this right away. So, who conducted this study on why people have sex? Dr. Cindy Maston is a scientist who has done serious work on female physiology and has changed many well-known facts about women. So she was born in 1960, originally Canadian, but currently at the University of Texas in America. As I said, she has done very serious work. I especially thank her on behalf of science and women, because we always say women, as I mentioned in the previous video. We can't understand women. Women are like this or that. It's not that we can't understand women, it's just that there are few studies, especially related to sexuality, focused on women. Because there are few scientific studies, we haven't been able to understand certain things until today, and we just move on without understanding. Classic patriarchal order. Cindy Maston and David Boss also ask why women have sex. She is also the author of the book. Actually, they turned the results of this study into a book focusing on women. The study is actually the same. I'll briefly explain this. Now, they asked women here, this is a survey, study for the survey. There are incredible statistics, incredible effort. So it took me 3 days to figure out the statistics of the survey for this survey. So it took me 3 days to understand it, because everything there was quite challenging. But it's a really beautiful study. In the current study, 237 reasons have been found. So 237 reasons have been found regarding why people have sex. After finding these reasons, they said, this is what it means to be a real scientist. What we found is just a step in the scientific agenda. Actually, there could be even more. There can be cultural and social differences, but we found these things. We took a step. Such a study has never been done in the world. We did this. I hope this leads to more in the future. They mention this with humility in the opening sentence. So, how did they do it here? There are a set of questions. They asked these questions. They asked the woman to number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, let me give you an example. I got bored, was feeling down. I wanted to have sex. If she says, I do this all the time, 5. If she says she always makes sexual clothing with this feeling, that's a 5. If she says she never does it with this feeling, that's a 1. If she sometimes does it, that's a 4, and so on. And they categorized these into 4 groups, then divided them into 6, and created a scoring system. This isn't much, I just moved on. They made a general assessment. There are 9 main reasons for frequently engaging in relationships. The first is liking and attraction. They also mentioned that there are at least 5 reasons. The first one is liking, appreciating, attraction to the person. This is already the most common reason. It doesn't matter whether it's a woman or a man. The second reason is to gain physical pleasure, expressing love, feeling desired by others, and deepening the relationship. These 3 expressions are particularly more advanced in women. Curiosity and wanting to experience something new. It's another group. And this is a bit more advanced in men. For celebration and fun, because there was an opportunity, due to uncontrollable circumstances. Among the least reasons, I engaged in a relationship to hurt the other person. So, for a purpose, for a gain, as we will see shortly, it could be money, drugs, work, or a promotion. I engaged in a relationship for this purpose. I engaged in a relationship to improve my social status, to get rid of headaches and menstrual cramps, in other words, to eliminate something, to forget something, or to suppress it, or to accept it as a duty. Now, these are the main outlines. They've classified these. We'll look at physical reasons, emotional goal attainment, insecurity reasons, and so on. Now, they have listed the top 50 reasons for entering into a relationship for both men and women, as well as the 50 least common reasons and the differences between men and women. Let's take a look at these. Of course, there are 237 questions in total. I can't get them all here. There's no need to take all 50. The first 3 reasons are very important. Look, the top 3 reasons for entering into a relationship are the same for both women and men. I was interested in the person. I wanted to experience physical pleasure. It feels good. These 3 reasons are the same. There are differences in the least reasons. Women enter into relationships for the least reasons to harm the other person or to transmit a disease. They enter into relationships because money is offered and because they want a raise. These are the least common reasons. Now, there's a perception here that I'll talk about shortly. For example, getting a raise or being offered money. I don't know how to explain this, but I struggled to explain it to myself. I'll try to explain it here. For example, we always know that culturally, women enter into relationships more for money. Here, it's a bit the opposite. Yes, it's about making money. If it's about making money, women enter into relationships more often. There's no problem with that, but they enter into relationships because they want to make money. They do this willingly. But when it comes to being offered money, if they don't want to, they don't enter into a relationship. This is more common among men. We see it in many places on social media where they hold a microphone. Sometimes they are a couple. Sometimes they offer money and they engage with women. If statistics were done here, then men would enter into relationships more. So the conclusion drawn from this is a different situation. Also, for example, in work life and social life, we always hear that women are a bit more prominent in gaining status, being popular, getting a raise, or getting promoted, culturally speaking. No, it's not like that either. The conclusion here is that women are more prominent in this regard. So, the use of resources for profit is much more prevalent among men. So, is there a difference between men and women? Now, out of these 237 reasons, only 3 of them show that women are statistically different from men. The first is that I naturally wanted to feel like a woman. The second is that I wanted to express my love for the person. Third, I realized that I was in love. I wanted these 3 more than men did. All the other reasons are more prevalent among men. While emotion is prominent for women, we observe the following. Men are focused on the physical aspects. Number 1 is the openness of clothing. Men are all about the physical, that's clear. Number 1 is the openness of clothing. We wanted number 2, man. For example, this is very different. For example, women are much more hesitant to engage with men who wear revealing clothing. For example, they are much more hesitant than men. I wanted to relieve the blue balls. That's a crude term meaning something like that. You know, I haven't been in a relationship for a very long time. It was in the test system and I wanted to release the sperm. So it's completely physiological. The person was available, they had the desired body. As you can see, everything is physiological. Now, I always say this here. Let me repeat this again for those who have just come back. Since we're back, for women, sexuality is not just about pleasure and enjoyment, etc. For women, sexuality, meaning the penis entering the vagina in crude terms, also allows a woman to feel like a woman, to feel loved and desired. It is not, for women, sexuality, meaning the penis entering the vagina in crude terms, also allows a woman to feel like a woman, to feel loved and desired. So, if a couple, a woman and a man, are not engaging in a relationship for a while, and this is due to the man, the woman thinks like this. This man doesn't love me, doesn't want me. He asks, You're not liking me anymore. You don't love me. Do you want me? The first question is this. If this situation cannot be overcome and continues like this for a while, then the woman thinks like this. If this man doesn't love me and doesn't like me, then he must like someone else. He must love someone else. Then he must be getting involved with someone else. Because love, to be liked, to be desired, is a relationship. They are Korean women. So she asked the man the second question, are you cheating me? Or she might just say, I think you're cheating on me directly. So it's really important to know this well. The sexual perception in women is different from that in men. This all is already true here. So what has come out of this study? Men are more focused on physical attributes than women, pursuing experiences and opportunities. Women, however, possess greater emotional depth. Women have a bit more emotional depth. We already knew this all along. We always knew something different. So it's not really about knowing, but rather that I've somehow become hypnotized. We knew that women prefer sexuality more to achieve their goals, but that's not the case. Men tend to prefer more. There's also the story of making money. I explained it. I won't explain it again. Now, there was also there were those 4 sections. Let me summarize it briefly so that the video doesn't get too long. Of course, physical reasons stimulate both sides when it comes to a person's physical appearance. This is the number one reason. In terms of stress relief, I was disappointed. I needed to relax, etc. This leads to a lot of relationships. People engage in relationships because it feels good and brings pleasure. A person has an attractive face. Look, what are the topics that arouse women and men in terms of physical pleasure? That physical aspect was especially the masculine face. The face is the top reason for attraction. So when women are asked why they engage physically with men, and men are asked why they engage physically with women, the number one topic is the face. So having attractive facial features is identified as the number one reason for both men and women to engage in physical relationships. Of course, then the body and the eyes come into play. I mentioned that men engage in sexual activity more, or because they are curious about sex and seek mental experiences, wanting to take time to reach the goal. So, of course, there are some things that don't have a full Turkish translation, but I guess there is a Turkish translation. Here, earning money is said to mean increasing one's income at the place one works. He says that he wanted to engage in more sex than his friends because he wanted to get into a job, to punish himself, to become popular, or to enhance his reputation. This is especially a male attitude. Revenge, the feeling of revenge. This is especially a male attitude. Revenge, feeling of revenge. I wanted to take revenge on my partner for cheating on me. The number one reason for engaging in this relationship is the feeling of revenge. I was angry at my partner, so I got involved with someone else. I wanted to get even with someone. I wanted to avoid doing things for the sake of benefit. I wanted to burn calories. I wanted to burn them from the heat. He's trying to gain an advantage for himself. That's the purpose here. People engage in relationships to gain something. I wanted to realize the emotional reasons for falling in love. This was number one for women. This was the area where women were superior to men. I wanted to feel my emotional attachment to the person. This is very important. When he wants to apologize, he can also engage in a relationship. And when he wants to thank someone, he can also say goodbye. Look, these 3 are very important. This surprised me when I saw it. There are also reasons for insecurity. I feel like it's my duty. The likelihood of getting into a relationship is quite high. I got into a relationship for myself. I want to feel like a woman. I especially want to feel like a man among men. My respect for myself is growing. I wanted to feel better. There's also a duty story. I didn't know how to say no. I felt compelled to do this for myself. I have to do this. There's also partner protection. It goes like this. I don't want my partner to be left alone. I don't want them to go to others. I don't want them to be with anyone else. There are also those who enter into a relationship to keep their partner with them, at least in a sexual sense. Now, I try to explain it quickly in general terms. It was a very long scientific study. Of course, there are cultural and racial differences here. But as I said, a person is a person. In Africa, America, Tanzania, and Europe, a person is a person. Everywhere it's the same. Therefore, people have feelings too. These feelings don't change. So people have feelings too. And these feelings don't change. So this data gives us the overall average. I hope that many more studies like this are conducted, and I will try to share them with you. Thank you.